The following is an EHC media production.
What's going on, RWT? This is Mike Larkin, the host of The Future Is Now, and I'm back with episode 19 of The Future Is Now. What a week for 205 Live and NXT, respectively. I'm just going to hop right into it as I'm recording this. It's the early mornings of Sunday, November 11th, 2018. This will be out to you guys before this Wednesday's NXT, which I'll be talking about, with episode 20. But I figured, you know what? I've been wanting to do this the last couple of days. I've been kind of on podcast overload, what we've had out. We just put out the Steve and Mike Show, episode 65, interviews galore, pop culture shows galore. So, I mean, hey, I'm here at The Future Is Now, better late than never, and I'm happy to be doing this for everybody, for RWT, and especially my homie Amir Blackbane Costello. So, without further ado, let's jump into the show, because 205 Live emanated from the UK this week, Manchester, England. The show pretty much starts off where we find out that Drake Maverick congratulates Mustafa Ali for earning a title match by defeating Tony Nese, and we now find out that Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the Cruiserweight Championship will be taking place this upcoming Sunday as I'm recording it. Yeah, this upcoming Sunday. Not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. There you go, folks. not today, not this Sunday, but next Sunday's Survivor Series. Buddy Murphy versus Mustafa Ali for the WWE Cruiserweight Championship, which most likely will probably be on the pre-show for Survivor Series. And also next week we got NXT TakeOver War Games, which we'll discuss. But yeah, that was just a preview of it. Then Kalisto says that they got to break 2 pinatas for the price of 1. Lindsay tells Kalisto to be careful what he says around Penelope. You might not like to play games, but they like to play games. They call Mike a coward for hiding behind his wife Maria. So that brings us to our first matchup of the night. It is Lindsay Dorado and Kalisto, the Lucha House Party, versus TJP and Mike Kanellis. These two gelled well. I mean, Mike Kanellis being the heel, like going for maneuvers and blowing kisses to his wife Maria. TJP being the great heels that he is, going after the masks. And really, it was just a great tag team matchup. I really thought they all gelled well with each other. The finish came where Kalisto pretty much hits a suicide dive onto Kanellis. Dorado goes for a roll-up, but TJP goes for the mask and pulls it off. But wait, they got him this time because Dorado's wearing a second mask under that mask. Hits a Hurricane Rana, kind of like a mini West Coast pop that Rey Mysterio does for the 1-2-3 on TJP. And the Lucha House Party gets some revenge on TJP and Mike Kanellis. Afterwards, Maria stops TJP and Mike from doing anything to Dorado or Kalisto. Then we head to the back with former Cruiserweight Champion Cedric Alexander. We see him at the Performance Center, working with Steve Corino, who you may remember, obviously, in ECW, Ring of Honor as a commentator / wrestler, and he is now a coach at NXT at the WWE Performance Center. Cedric Alexander is working on some moves. Leo Rush comes up, and he says Cedric has lost all confidence, and he's training with the rookies. Cedric says that if Leo's not going to just carry Bobby Lashley's bags and compete, maybe he will learn. Leo says that Cedric needs a marquee match against the 23-year-old piece of gold. Leo says he's not hard to find. And then we find out next week we are going to get Cedric Alexander versus Leo Rush, which I've been wanting to see for months and months and months, as I've been discussing on this show. So we finally get that next week. We get a little tune-up match for Leo Rush this week, as Leo Rush takes on Josh Morrell. This is just Leo being Leo. Josh Morrell got a couple shots in, but Leo, he does the arm wringer, he does the enziguri. He pretty much does his, he throws Josh Morrell to the ringside barrier, hits a number of kicks and a cannonball in the corner. Then he hits the final hour, the frog splash off the top for the 1-2-3, and Leo Rush is your victor. After the match, Leo says that he wants to dedicate his victory to a man who has motivated him. Cedric is in a bit of a slump, and Cedric went back to the Performance Center to go back to his roots. Leo says he respects Cedric Alexander. Leo says he knows that hard work breaks talent when talent does not work hard. Cedric has been working pretty hard. Leo says there is nobody that works harder than Leo Rush. If Cedric thinks he can get back to his high horse at Leo's expense, Cedric is surely mistaken. Next week, the Age of Alexander meets its final hour, TikTok. So it was a nice promo by Leo Rush, and we got a little more aggression out of him. We take a look at Mark Andrews as we prepare for the main event with him and Buddy Murphy. Then we come back, and Mustafa Ali's in the back. He says first they called him maybe. Today they call him the Heart of 205 Live. At WrestleMania, they had the chance to call him champ, but he let that slip through his fingers. He's been waiting for another chance to be called champion, and he has that chance. They are on a collision course, and nothing is slipping through his hands. No one will be calling him a maybe. They're going to call him champion. And also, we found out next week that Akira Tozawa and Brian Kendrick will take on Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak in tag team action and tag team grudge match. Buddy Murphy says that the Juggernaut versus the Heart of 205 Live, the way that Ali has scratched and clawed to get back to the top is a fairy tale, but there is no happy ending. He will show why he's the best, and he will use Mark Andrews as a stepping stone to prove you cannot stop the unstoppable. Which brings us to our main event, which is Buddy Murphy versus Mark Andrews. This was just so good. It was so good. The counters, the corkscrew moonsault by Mark Andrews, the high-octane aerial assault. Just the Beals showing Buddy Murphy's dominance, the suicide dives. It was so good. The finishing sequence is Andrews hits an enziguri, goes for a code red. Andrews with a forearm, but Murphy with a series of kicks, and he kicks Andrews into the corner. Andrews with a kick and a thrust kick from the turnbuckles. Murphy blocks a tornado DDT, hits the sit-out powerbomb. Murphy goes for a suplex, but Andrews with the stun dog millionaire. Andrews goes up top for the shooting star, but Murphy gets the knees up. Then he hits a running knee in the Murphy's Law for the 1-2-3. Buddy Murphy is your victor. And what was a very good matchup. I would pretty much say, guys, go out of your way to watch all of 205 Live this week. I mean, Lince Dorado and Kalisto, that was a good match. Leo Rush was fine for what it was, which sets up next week's matchup with Cedric Alexander. But really go out of your way to watch Mark Andrews and Buddy Murphy. It's so, so good. And they really just showed why, just why that they are who they are. And just the Lucha House Party, just Buddy Murphy and Mark Andrews. If you're not watching NXT UK, I will say this. Go out of your way to watch NXT UK because it's so fucking good. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It really is just so, so good. And it just shows why. Just shows why, man. Just shows why. That's all really I can say about this whole thing. I'm going to get into NXT in a second, but if you're not watching 205 Live or just the whole fucking NXT in itself, it's just so effing good, man. It really is. And I'm going to say this right now. NXT TakeOver War Games is looking stacked. We got Velveteen Dream and Tommaso Ciampa for the WWE NXT World Heavyweight Championship. It's just, dude, it's so effing good. It's so effing good. It just is. I really can't, emphasize it so much. It was really a good weekend wrestling for both shows. But really, again, just to reiterate, go out of your way to watch the whole show, but really go out of your way to watch the main event between Buddy Murphy and Mark Andrews, and just watch the tag match with the Lucha House Party and TJP and Mike Kanellis. They all really did well. But yeah, go out of your way to watch those two matches. We're going to get into NXT now. So here we go. NXT, man, oh man, what can I say about NXT? Fucking top to bottom, it was just absolutely incredible. The Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black stuff, I'm going to get into it, but man, here we go. NXT, we opened up with Otis Dozovic and Tucker Knight, a.k.a. Heavy Machinery, against Wesley Blake and Steve Cutler, the Forgotten Sons, with Jackson Riker, the former Gunner, and Impact Wrestling in their corner. They just worked very, very hard. Just nice double team maneuvers from both guys. And Steve Cutler has that. He has a broken nose. He has that face mask that he's wearing, the face guard. The finishing sequence came where Cutler and Blake with a powerplex for a near fall when Dozovic breaks it up. Otis sends Blake to the floor, and Otis is sent to the floor by Cutler. Knight with a backslide after a near fall, followed by a clothesline. Otis tags in and they go for the crossbody, but Wesley Blake pulls down the ropes and Knight goes to the floor. Cutler with a lung blower, but Cutler is knocked off the turnbuckles. Otis with the standing power slam, which is pretty much a leaping World's Strongest Slam, the pop-up World's Strongest Slam for the 1-2-3. It was good. Heavy Machinery are your victors. Solid action. I'm liking what we're getting from this tag division. We go to comments from Candice about what happened last week with Nikki Cross. Candice says she is not here to be exploited. Anything between her and her husband are to be kept private. What about Nikki Cross? She laughed in our face and walked away. Candice says she's going to ask for a match against Nikki Cross next week, so she cannot walk away. Shayna Baszler's with Marina Shafir and Jessamine Duke after we see Laura Sullivan and Velveteen Dream getting ready for their main event matchup. Shayna's asked about Kyrie asking for her rematch. Shayna wants people to realize how insignificant Kyrie is. She's the first two-time NXT Women's Champion. William Regal enters and he says that Kairi is invoking her rematch clause. That match will take place at TakeOver because of your storied past. The match will be 2 out of 3 falls, which is going to be epic. And hopefully, we'll see what happens. Will Kairi win it back? Who are we going to see Shayna go against? It's going to be good. And we get to our second matchup, which is a battle of NXT UK's Dakota Kai and NXT's overall. Dakota Kai, who was also in the inaugural Mae Young Classic against Tainara Conti, who was also in the inaugural Mae Young Classic, and this one's Mae Young Classic. It was good. It was just Tainara Conti showing her judo style. Dakota Kai was great. All in all, they worked great. I mean, it was really all I could say. That's pretty much what the match was. The finish comes where Dakota Kai hits a scorpion kick, the round kicks to the chest. You know, she's a captain team kick, the Yakuza kick in the corner, then the code red lung blower for the 1-2-3, which I believe she calls it the chiropractor, because she's going to need the chiropractor, because you need a chiropractor, which is a cool name for the move, makes sense. And Dakota Kai is your victor. Mia Yim is in the back. She says she's living the dream. She gets to work alongside the best of the best. She says she cannot. And then Bianca Belair comes in and asks Mia, and Mia asks if there's a problem. Bianca says, why are they interviewing Mia since she just got here? Bianca mentions that she has been here for more than 2 years, and she is undefeated. Bianca tells Mia to go back where she came from. Mia asks why is Bianca so angry towards her. The EST has not beaten the HBIC. Bianca leaves the interview area, and then that's the end of that. But I'm looking forward to Bianca Belair versus Mia Yim. Excuse me, I think Bianca Belair is a great heel. Mia Yim is excellent in what she does. I've been a fan of her since the Impact Wrestling days where she was Jade as a part of the Dollhouse, former Knockouts champion. I've seen her all over the world. She's so good. Bianca Belair, again, for someone who's only been in the biz for like 2 or 3 years, she's so good too. Inaugural Mae Young Classic. I mean, girl is a star. And again, I apologize, folks, if you hear a little yawning or I sound a little, because it is, as I'm recording this, 3 o'clock in the morning, but I wanted to get this out to you guys. Again, Solid Show 205, I'm just talking about NXT. I'm blown away, man. It's just been a great addition of wrestling as far as the NXT and 205 sides go, respectively. So, all right, moving on from that, Matt Riddle was interviewed after his match. Keith Lee asked him, how did his debut feel? Matt Riddle is interrupted by Cassius Ohno, who comments on Mr. Regal's shiny brand new toys. Ohno says he likes shiny new toys because they are fun to break. Matt says his debut was successful and they are together in NXT. Matt says to bask in their glory, bro. We take a look at the War Games match. We see footage from last year's match. Adam Cole says that they have been there, the most barbaric match in all of WWE. Kyle says there are no winners in war, only losers. Adam says NXT's mission has been to prevent this from happening. Bobby says they were thrown to the wolves, but Adam says they are still here. Raymond Rose says the war is here. We see Ricochet beating Adam Cole for the title. Pete Dunne says the Undisputed Era has used its numbers to take advantage of them, but that will not be the case here. And that was pretty much just a hype video for it. Adam says there's nobody who can handle War Games like the Undisputed Era. Ricochet says there's no one for Undisputed Era to run. Pete says Undisputed Era barely walked out of War Games the first go around. Ricochet says they will be carried out this year. I'm looking forward to War Games. It's going to be an epic matchup. Now we get the answers that everybody wants. Why Johnny Why? Because here comes Johnny Gargano. Why Johnny Why? That is the question he has been asked. He has been very open. Alistair, you talk about a path, but Johnny says he is on a path too. Johnny says this is the path he took the night they met. The path to Tommaso Ciampa was the path to the right, the wrong, and to be the one to beat Tommaso for the title. You got in the way. It's collateral damage. It's nothing personal. You walk around here like you own the place. Black mass anyone without anyone batting an eye. Johnny says he is the good guy. He's the hero at the end of this story. Johnny says he does not. He does one thing that people consider evil and everyone freaks out. Johnny says he's the same. He fights for what is right. Sometimes you have to fight a little dirty. You might want to kick his face off and that is fine. Johnny says he accepts that and maybe he deserves that after everything he's been through and he's not afraid of Alistair. Johnny says he lives in a dark place. He's not afraid of the dark anymore. Johnny says he's starting to like it. Johnny asks if that looks familiar because that is the same spot he left you laying. At War Games, he leaves you laying again. Then we find out that next week on NXT, Mia Yim's going to fight Bianca Belair. Nikki Cross is going to fight Candice LeRae. And William Regal announces that next week a member of each team from War Games will meet and the winner will earn the advantage at the War Games match. Whew. And then we get to the main event of Velveteen Dream and Lars Sullivan. These two just had a great back and forth. Lars working over him with the nerve hole, just the power game. Velveteen coming back with, just fucking punches and uppercuts, boots to the head, a drop kick, missile drop kick, trying to take the big man down. The finishing sequence comes where Velveteen Dream tries to get Sullivan on his shoulders, but Sullivan blocks and hits a pop-up power slam. Sullivan goes up top and Dream with the thrust kick. Dream goes for a superplex, but Sullivan with punches and he sends Dream to the mat. Sullivan misses a diving headbutt. Sullivan is sent to the ring post. Dream hits the rolling DVD. Then he goes for the Purple Rainmaker, the elbow drop off the top. But here comes Tommaso Ciampa. Distracts Velveteen Dream. Lars Sullivan with the freak accent for the 1-2-3. Lars Sullivan is your winner. After the match, Ciampa attacks Dream and he tells Dream that he's the champion. You don't share his spotlight or his main event. You are not in his league. Dream with a punch, but Ciampa with kicks. Ciampa puts put him down, and he sets for a powerbomb onto the belt after putting the championship down. Dream counters into the swing and reverse DDT onto the gold. Dream goes up on top, and officials come during to stop him. Then Dream ignores him, hits the Purple Rainmaker elbow drop. Velveteen Dream holds up the gold. Everybody's cheering Velveteen, Velveteen. And that was your NXT. Good action, solid top to bottom. For this one, I'm going to say for NXT, pretty much, again, like 205, go out of your way to watch everything, but just watch Why Johnny Why and watch Velveteen Dream and Lars Sullivan. Just watch both shows this week, guys. They were both very, very solid and very, very good. I know a lot of people don't watch 205 a lot, but I will say this, give it a shot. If you don't like it, that's fine, but please do give it a shot and just NXT, really go out of your way to watch. It just keeps getting better and better. We got NXT TakeOver War Games coming next week. Johnny Gargano, Aleister Black, Velveteen Dream, and Tommaso Ciampa. War Games. We got Shayna Baszler and Kairi Sane 2 out of 3 falls. So many good matches. We got Survivor Series also as well. We got Ronda Rousey, Becky Lynch. We had AJ Styles versus Brock Lesnar 2. We got Seth Rollins versus Shinsuke Nakamura. We got The Bar versus the Authors of Pain. We got a lot of matches on that traditional Survivor Series matchup with the tag teams, the women's, and more. Team Raw versus Team SmackDown. It's going to be a hell of a week for wrestling. And just stay tuned. I'll be back next week, episode 20 of The Future Is Now, taking a look at 205 Live, featuring Cedric Alexander versus Leo Rush, and Brian Kendrick and Akira Tozawa versus Gentleman Jack Gallagher and Drew Gulak, respectively. And next week's NXT, which will feature Mia Yim versus Bianca Belair, Nikki Cross and Candice LeRae, and member of each team to decide the man advantage in the War Games matchup. So, on that note, thank you guys for listening. Again, quick review for you. I'll be back next week with episode 20. God bless, my friends. Have a great weekend, and I will talk to you soon. And as always, the future is now. And this has been The Future Is Now. My name is Mike Larkin. I appreciate each and every one of you, and have a great night. Thank you for listening.